So we're recording now. So welcome to everybody. While the speakers are speaking, we would ask that you keep yourself on mute. If you can, and you have a camera and you can share your screen, that's absolutely fine. It's good to get to know each other. I'm going to show you our agenda for the day, our format. I've told you our etiquette, so stay muted unless you're speaking or invited to unmute and speak. I'm going to hand over to Ruth Kaufman from the UK War Society and the WORAN group in a minute. And she has designed for us a very nice little activity, which is a quiz. And I haven't seen the questions, so don't ask me what the answers are. I don't actually know. But we're going to go into little breakout rooms. And what we ask in the breakout room is that you have a little bit of fun, introduce yourself to the people that are there. We've only got 15 minutes for this entire activity, and Ruth says it'll probably take up all of that time. So we've put you into breakout rooms. You can introduce yourself and try the quiz questions. Then Heleche is going to call us back, and Ruth is going to share the final answers with us for the quiz. And after we've done the quiz, what we're going to do is invite each of the forums to give an overview of what it is they do. So the W's, so we've got the WORAN, the Wisdom, and the Worms group, and they are all women in or type of organisation. So each of them will explain what they do. And then we'll wrap up today's session by trying to use a Jamboard to jot down some of our ideas of how we might collaborate together in the future. So, Ruth, I'm going to hand over to you. So if you want to explain a little bit to us about what we need to do and how we're going to do it, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much. I'll start screen sharing as soon as you stop your screen, Paula. In the meantime, I'm Ruth. I am the events subcommittee chair for WORAN. Still is, okay. And I am about to run the quiz. Can you see that slide? Yep.
Yeah, you can see it now.
Excellent. So, as Paula said, you're going to answer the questions in breakout rooms. Some of you may just have joined us with a real life group, and you can stay out of the breakout room and in a real life group if you really want to. Just warn Heleche that you don't want to be put into a group. But there will be 5 questions for you to answer in those breakout groups. I'm going to quickly read out all the questions now before you go into the breakout rooms, just so that way you all know that you've got the same questions. I will be putting a link in the chat as well, so there's no need to write them all down. So you'll be able to see the questions after the event. Then, as Paula said, you'll be in the breakout rooms for 10 minutes. Do open the question link first so that you can see the questions. But if you forget to do that, you can always nip out of the breakout room into the main room, get the link off the chat and then go back. When you join the breakout room, remember your room number because that's your team name. If you all introduce yourselves, agree who's going to be captain, you should all have a bossy person around who will take the role of captain. But if you're all very gentle and quiet, and then between you will have this 10 minutes to introduce each other, meet each other, decide on your answers. There's an instruction that says no cheating. You can work out for yourselves what's cheating and what's not cheating. But the end of 10 minutes, you should automatically be brought back to the plenary. And at that point, we'll go through the answers. And I'll ask the captains to put their team number and their score in the chat so that we can all cheer the winners. So, question number 1 will be about WORAN. Our female committee members come from Argentina, Germany, Greece, India, Italy, Turkey, and the UK. If they'd been living in those countries in 1918, only one of them would have been able to vote on the same terms as men. Which one? And then if the bonus point is who would still not have been able to vote in 1950? So that'll be your first question. No need to answer it now. You can discuss with the others. In 2010, Lauren Rosenberg sued Google for $100,000 and lost. What was she claiming for? Was it being injured by a car while she was walking on a Google Map route? Did she lose business because her wedding shop was too far down the rankings? Did she get lousy service from the electricians on the top of the rankings? Or was it for the time wasted in managing her Gmail? Question number 3 will be, which of these cannot be found as the subject of academic research if you use Google Search or Scholar? using a genetic algorithm to optimize dishwasher loading layout, using integer programs to optimize the operations of a human milk bank, applying taboo search to the management of domestic chores, or applying discriminant analysis to the assessment of gender differences in perceived threshold of necessity for cleaning the house. Question 4 will be about Hypatia of Alexandria, the first female mathematician of whom we have reasonable knowledge, who died at the age of 60. How? Was she crushed by falling books while she was optimizing the shelving arrangements in the local library? Did she fall off a cliff while she was observing the movements of the stars? Did she have a brain hemorrhage whilst solving a traveling salesman problem in her head? Or was she murdered by a mob of disapproving Christians? And then the last question will be, since the early 1950s, car safety testing has used crash test dummies based on the average male body. When was the first time a dummy based on the average female body was used in crash testing? And again, it's multiple choice. Was it 1955, 1978, 2001, or this year, 2023? I am going to, it'll be time to go into breakout rooms, but I can't actually put the link in the chat and share at the same time. So just a reminder of what's there. I'm going to stop sharing and put the link into the chat. And hopefully that's there for you all. If anybody has any urgent questions at the moment, then give us a shout. Otherwise, over to you, Hiletje, to set up the chat rooms. Breakout rooms.
And we'll all be back after our 10 minutes. Good luck, everybody.
Back, everybody. I hope you've had a great time and all ready to go. I'm going to wait for, because I can't see the screen now, I'm going to wait for Hiletje to tell me when everybody's back. But in the meantime, I'm also going to ask you to unmute, because I'm going to invite you to shout out the answers collectively and see what happens. Hiletje, is everybody back or not yet?
We're still waiting on a couple of people, so
Okay.
we can give it maybe 10, 20 seconds.
Right. Well, do be ready, captains,
Okay.
with your ready to mark. Yeah?
Great, we've got everyone back.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, inviting you all to unmute in spite of the etiquette. And if you would like to shout out the answers to question 1, who would have been able to vote on the same terms as men in 1918?
Greece.
Germany.
Germany.
It's Germany.
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 You're right, Mike. Sorry, my screen is stuck. We don't have time to make my screen stick. Right. Okay. And who would still not have been able to vote in 1950?
Greece.
Argentina.
Greece.
Greece. Well done, Greece. Brilliant.
Wow.
That's your list of details. Answer 2, which was, what did Lauren Rosenberg sue Google for?
A.
D. Time wasted.
B.
Injured by a car.
Oh my God.
She lost, by the way. D would have been better. Question 3, which of these isn't the subject of academic research?
A. Dishwasher.
It's D. Yeah, they're all there. I've got the references somewhere if anybody wants them. And question 4, how did Hypatia of Alexandria die?
A. Fell off the cliff. B.
She was actually lynched. She was murdered by
She was murdered.
She was murdered by monks.
Yeah, but then his answer was on the top, by the way, in the final.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the opposite.
And finally, your last question is the crash dummy. When was the first time a dummy was based on?
2023.
2023.
2023?
You're all right.
Oh,
2023.
wow.
Disgraceful, isn't it? Okay, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope the ice was broken. And if you captains could put your scores in, we can all, we can probably get going on the next item. But we can also be reading the scores as they come out. And no, you don't need to put the answers, just the scores at the end. That's right.
How do we count? Just like whatever, right answer 1?
One point for each right answer. Yeah. So the maximum you could get is 6. Okay. Brilliant, guys. We were working out if you just guessed what the score might have been, but that was too difficult a question. We didn't have time to set up the program.
Ruth, that was absolutely wonderful. And I'm glad I didn't look at the questions beforehand. It sent us off discussing all kinds of things and we hardly had time to talk to each other. It was wonderful. So I hope we'll do something like this again. I'm just going to move on because we have a lot we want to try and cover in. So thank you, Ruth. That was brilliant. I hope you all enjoyed it. And I'm going to pass you over to Catherine Kent. So Catherine, you might introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about WORAN, please.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me okay. So
yes.
I'm Catherine Kent and I chair the WORAN group, which is the Women in OR and Analytics Network, part of the OR Society. I'm based in the UK, actually in South Wales. I work for the Office for National Statistics as part of government OR as part of my day job. And we have a lot of WORAN people who come along to our events. And we have a really good committee who help get things going, especially our subcommittee for events. We have a load of sponsors, which I wanted just to flash up on the screen as well. So we have support from a lot of different universities and industry partners in the UK. So we just move on. Thank you. We haven't been going that long, actually. We only started really properly in 2020. So all of our events tend to take place online. We started with some MSc projects, which looked into the research into this area. And all of them had a recommendation around building a stronger network. And our network reaches across government, industry and academia, which means we're covering a lot of practitioners as well as academics. We're crucially open to all with an interest in OR, so and the barriers faced by women. So we obviously are open to men and people who are all interested in the topic. So we move us on. So today I wanted just to briefly mention some of the events we've hosted in 2023. We try and hold an event every month. And they're under 3 different types of events. So I'm just going to briefly talk you through those. So the first type of event we have is about supporting women working in OR. So we had some spotlights on some people who've had careers in OR, so talk a little bit about their leadership. Then we had very recently a joint event with our early career researchers, looking at career breaks. We held an in-person event at the Institute for Mathematics and OR Society Maths in OR conference on mentoring. And although it actually happened in 2022, I wanted to highlight our focus on the menopause event because that is getting constant views on our YouTube channel. Then we have a whole series of events related to visibility. So particularly to get a prominent speaker once a year in our flagship event, which we call the Land Lecture after Elsa Land. And this year that was Sue Ferns, who was past president of the Trade Union Congress and part of the Union Prospect. We also had an in-person event in London where we had a panel of women who'd been part of the Coal Board to really hear the voices of the early women in OR in the UK. And then I really like our lightning talks. So this is an opportunity to spotlight very short 5-minute talks each from some of our women in OR with a really keen interest in a particular topic. So they talked about we called it what gets you out of bed in the morning this year. And we had a good presentation from the Ethos of Engagement consultancy firm about their work across the globe, trying to get women's voices heard. And then the other type of events we held are our networking events. So this could be a book discussion. So this year we talked about Invisible Women, the Sex Factor, which I'd recommend. It's by Dr. Victoria Bateman. We had an in-person social at the OR Society conference this year. And of course, today we're all here for our Christmas social to build better networks with wisdom and worms. So if we go on to the next slide, this is just to say that all our events are available on our YouTube channel. I've done a short link there, WORAN playlist, but you can also find it through the OR Society YouTube channel. If you go on to the next slide. Paula, if you move on.
Sorry, my mouse decided to not move.
That's absolutely fine. Just before I finish, so I just want to talk about some upcoming events we have next year. That is a typo. It is actually January 24. So we've got a really interesting presentation from Ana Sofia Ferreira to talk about her career journey and how she's gone on to have such a great career. So that'll be really interesting. And then in February, following on from the career breaks discussion we had back in November, this is a spotlight on the Daphne Jackson Trust, which really supported Kathy through her return to work after having a career break. So yeah, two contrasting, but we think both really interesting upcoming events, which you're all welcome to attend and that will be available via the OR Society webpage for registration. Thank you. That's all from me.
Yes, thank you very much, Kathy. And here we go. So we'll move on straight away. So Kathy, that was brilliant. It looks like lots of really interesting things going on. And Angelica is here as well from the Informs Worms group. So Angelica, if you want to unmute and introduce yourself, and I'll go through your slides for you.
Hey, hello. Yeah, I didn't know like if I have just only 1 minute or 3 minutes to talk about it. So I really put just very, very brief. Of course, we have, some history, a woman in ORMS with Informs, which is, mostly states. Here it was established in 1995. So, however, like those are our goals, and it's pretty much just was established to talk about our problems, questions, issues. We don't want to separate us from, man or whoever identify them as, something else. It really doesn't matter. Just allies working together, collaboration, how to just bring our problems. Because thank you, Catherine. I was listening to you and like, even about menopause. Yeah, we haven't talked about it, but it's like we need to. I mean, it's a topic that bothers. So I only put a couple of just examples of what we did this year, just pretty much with respect to conferences. We do have two types, business analytics. I think it's next slide if you put together. Oh, this is our social media. I just put together for Worms. Yeah, actually it's Women in ORMS. So I'm more than welcome to, I don't know, take a screenshot, or maybe we'll send out those slides just for everybody's information. We actually started like LinkedIn page probably last year or the year before. Really, it seems like, oh, we should do it before. We didn't, so now I'm excited, to be part of the World Wide Web or W Cube, as we called us. So as for events this year, mostly at the conferences, in April, somewhere there is a Informs Business Analytics Conference, mostly with industry. However, there are some of the academia as well. We do usually present like 3 sessions, gather for network breakfast with some of the topics and discussions. Cocktails and conversations with, let's say this year we had Radhika as a former last year president of Informs talking to, her learnings, findings, and recommendations. It was amazing. We do have usually some of the leadership sessions that incorporated when we invite a leadership coach, and we do provide some awards. Like this year, it was 1 award. Obviously, I did not include sponsors completely, kind of get away from it, but we do have sponsors, and we are absolutely thankful for them because we can use as money for, supporting doctoral students. At Informs annual meeting, we usually have like few sessions. One of them, again, can be might be like a coachable leadership, some skills, and another one panel around research or, it can be discussion. Usually we do have a networking reception, which I don't know why, but it's called the Best of Inform. So if you ever hear at annual, please do come. I mean, it's evening, but it's nice to mingle with people and just have fun together. Luncheon, it's where we present our awards and type of awards that we do have. Again, thanks to our sponsors, we can have money to give it to our best woman. It's advancement of women in academia in industry. We did not have industry actually before, so it was recent thing. Maybe or sometimes we don't have it because majority of people who go to annual meeting are from academia. But we really need to build that bridge between academia and industry and see how we work together. And we do like to support doctoral students, travel awards or doctoral colloquium award. This year, actually, it was 5. So it's not huge support, but I mean, it can pay for registration. Of course, in addition to those events at some meetings, we do have some webinars. We do some joint ones with practical sessions and all others. But I think I briefly want to talk about the program To My Younger Self that was actually established last year. And this was the second year of it. If you please, next slide. Yep. It's a mentorship program of, more senior women, who work with as professors in academia, and we like to have more industry. You're sharing their experience, their, some kind of being a coach for current doctoral students, but not in their final year, just because, final years they're probably too busy with something. So we usually do have like around 10 students, and it's a year-long program. So really had a great feedback. They, in the end of the year, they actually form a community. Okay, they come to meeting. They do have, like this year, it was a celebration dinner. Okay, so just be equipped with some professional knowledge, self-care skills, because if you click on next slide, I think I put a little bit more information. 5-6 short virtual workshops. So it's all like online, except the annual meeting, obviously meeting, okay? But students really can gain that experience from what I would tell myself or what I would like to know when I was a student. So that's why it's called actually To My Younger Self. I'm pretty sure that we do have like 4 DEI liaisons and our WORMS board. So they're gonna be the ones who like lead the program. So it's like previous students, they would lead program next year. So I think we would like to, extend invitation, and obviously there is a package that you submit, but I think we can find all this information. It really worked good as a mentorship program. So I think next one I put, just a little bit more information, about, right now we had 10 qualified applicants that accepted, and applications are somewhere in February. So I did not put any like planned events, which I think I should. Our new president and some board members just being elected currently. So next 21st, I think we'll have a result. So it was a little, no, I'd say it's fine. So we changed our leadership. And I think I forgot to mention, but this year I was a president of WORMS. So we do usually work together as a team, past president and president-elect, as 3 of us on it. But absolutely open to any, webinars, any combined events, and looking forward to some collaboration. I think I had 7 minutes, which I'm proud of myself.
Well done. Thank you very much. And that sounds like there's a lot going on there as well, and some very interesting initiatives. I'm going to take just a couple of minutes now to talk a little bit about wisdom. So I am Paula Carroll. I am the current chair of the Euro Wisdom Forum, and we set ourselves up in 2020. And like some of the other groups, a lot of our activities are online. So this is what we agreed we would try and do. So we started after there had been some Women in OR sessions at the Euro conferences. So there was an interest in doing something within the Euro community. So we agreed on these 3 actions. So we want to try and advise and make recommendations on best practices. So we want to make those recommendations to the national OR societies that are members of Euro and to the Euro working groups and so on. We also want to do championing, networking, we said mentoring, but we've actually steered away from that a little bit because we didn't find we had the resources for it. So very interested to hear what has been happening in WORANs. So we're really focused on women at the early stages of their career. So trying to put some supports and networking opportunities for them in place. And that last point then is around promoting a conversation about how OR can be utilised to help create a diverse and inclusive future. So not just promoting the participation of all genders within OR, but how OR can reciprocate and be useful from a diversity perspective. So that is more or less what we decided to do. And this is how we went about doing it. So we set ourselves up in a couple of subcommittees. So a research subcommittee, an events subcommittee, and a PR subcommittee. Our research subcommittee produced a white paper. So that was one of our first activities. So that's available. And we set out and did a systematic literature review because we are not experts in gender or gender studies. So we read some of that literature and wrote a white paper, which is available. I'm delighted to let you all know that our first peer-reviewed publication has just been accepted to appear in JORS. So we conducted a study at the Euro 2021, a survey Euro 2021 conference, and the results of that are in the paper, along with an analysis of what we call the gender OR nexus. So where is gender turning up as a dimension of operations research work? So that is to appear, and we're absolutely delighted with that. So thank you to the editors at JORS. And we have other pieces of research work in progress. So we don't have particular funding for this, so that is something else that we might look at. Should we look at research calls to enable more collaboration? But we're also delighted to reach out to WORMS and WORAN to see what we might do there. So that's our research, a lot of that ongoing. And apologies to my wisdom colleagues who are online today, because I'm flying through a wealth of work that they do, and I'm kind of really just giving you the highlights. There's a lot that goes on. So in our events subcommittee, we hold an initiative called Young Women for Operations Research, so Young Women for OR. And it is a visibility initiative. So we invite young women in their final year PhD or 3 years post-PhD to nominate themselves for this visibility initiative. We are going to announce today the 4th cohort. So each year we pick 12 women and we try and promote their work and what they're doing. So we do that through holding webinars. So it gives them an opportunity to talk about their research, but also to connect with subject matter experts. So within the discipline, we connect them with senior researchers. And then we also hold our winter event. So delighted to be doing this joint winter event this year with WORMS and WORAN. We also participate in the Euro conferences as well. So in 2022, it was our post-COVID, our first in-person get-together when we held a satellite workshop, and we also held special sessions where the young women for OR got an extra opportunity to present their research. So we're planning now for Euro 2024, which is coming in Copenhagen. So we hopefully will meet in person there. And we also have a lot of activity making people aware of what we're doing. So we have a PR subcommittee who work on social media. So things like LinkedIn, X, we have an email, we have a website, we have a YouTube channel. And when I say we, I'm using the royal we here. So we have both volunteers and members of the Wisdom Committee do all of this work, including producing annual newsletters and articles that we put in the I4's newsletter. I'm not sure what I else I have to say here. And this is some of our activities at Euro 2022. So bringing joy, look at the smiles on these faces. And like Angelica as well, the young women that have received the award are getting together, strengthening their networks together. And so it is a great way to establish yourself and get to know the community. So that's what happened in the past. And there's some of our past awardees. And I would like to announce the awardees for 23-24. So these are the young women that have been selected to be part of this Young Women for War initiative. And in 2024, we will be arranging a set of webinars for them to highlight their research, but we'll also be inviting them to participate in the Euro 2024 conference with us as well. So hopefully some of them are online there. So if you can raise your hand, I can only see my screen, but if the rest of you can congratulate them, we are delighted to announce that they are there. Well done. I see Mariana, Kaznia, Amelia, Kubra, and well done the rest of you. Apologies, I can't see all of you there, but we will hopefully, Sirma, congratulations to you as well, and Fatma. So I think most of them are here today, and I see another Paula. There aren't too many other Paulas in Ireland. I know in Portugal there's lots of them, but welcome and congratulations to all our awardees. Okay, so we are probably nearly coming up on our time. We have a couple of minutes left, so I'm not letting you go yet. We're not finishing just yet, but we have one last activity. And before we do that, I want to say a couple of special thank yous. So today's event took a bit of organising. So Helece is in control in the background there. Ruth, who did the quiz, Bengu, who is one of the WORMS international liaisons, Gabriella from WORMS, Margarita from Wisdom, Frances with her dual hat of both Wisdom and WORAN. So a lot of work went into preparing today's activities. So thank you to them. I also want to take a moment to thank our expert speakers, so people who are very, very busy and accepted our invitations to participate in the Young Women for War webinars. So Manuel, Bahar, Claudia and Emilio. So thank you to them, and we will be reaching out to the community for our 2024 webinars. So more details about those coming. I was running out of space on my slides. There are too many people to thank. So a lot of stuff happens because people work in the background. And apologies to all the people that I can't name here because we just don't have room to thank all of the people. So thank you to all of the young women who put themselves forward, did the wonderful work this year, 2023. We hope to see them at Euro 2024. To all of the Wisdom committee members, they do a huge amount of work. And we do have a set of people who sign up to be what we call ordinary members. So they literally say that we support your objectives and we will do what we can to help you. So lots of opportunities to get involved. And our WORAN and WORMS colleagues. So we got an overview, a quick flash through all of the work that they do. So I'm looking forward to opportunities for collaborating. And I'm going to show you this lovely picture from our PR subcom. So thank you to Tatiana and her colleagues for this lovely image and the nice work that they do. I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to hand us over to Helece, who is going to walk us through our final task for the day. And I think she's going to put a link in the chat to a Jamboard. And on the Jamboard, we have a question. And the question for everybody is, where do our goals, two questions, where do our goals overlap and how can we collaborate in the future? So we're going to put those into that Jamboard. So if you click on the Jamboard and open that link, and where do our goals overlap? How can we collaborate in the future? So hopefully you can click on that and you can add some text or some comments or some thoughts. We'll just spend a minute or two doing that. We're all here in the chat together. So if anybody wants to, at this point, feel free to just unmute yourself and speak. I can't see everybody that's here. I will ask all our PR subcom take some screenshots for our social media, and likewise WORAN and WORMS. But if there's anybody there that wants to ask a question or make a comment, I might go back first to the two presidents. So Catherine, And Angelica, I can't see you now, but if there's anything you wanted to say in terms of those two questions, our goals, ambitions, and how we might collaborate. I've lost you on my screen.
While they're getting their act together, can I just point out that we're over successful and nobody can get onto the Jamboard because there's too many of us trying to do it.
Okay.
So,
how about this? You can put your comments in the chat while we're coordinating ourselves.
I'm surprised it's only 56 participants and we already, overwhelmed the Jamboard. So that's something not right. It should try a lot of us. That's what's important. And I think it's like, how can we collaborate in the future? Our goals definitely overlap. We want just to support each other and be successful and bring the best of us. But we just need to communicate. I think communication is the key with respect to I'd like to know about events and how can we exchange about it? Obviously I can look at your website. You can look at my website, but maybe meetings, Zoom meetings. I really love it today. With all those quizzes, I learned so much about Greece and Germany, at least. Google helped. Joint event I think will be great, and just be on the emailing list, I guess, to receive all of it. So
that's certainly something we can start.
I think we could have a WhatsApp group as well of all the after taking the consent of all the women who would be interested in a nice group chat. So whoever comes to know from which part of the country of any conference or any workshop, and we could always just put that on that group, and maybe it could be a good place for even employment opportunities or collaborations for papers.
That's certainly a nice way, nice ideas. We'll try and gather up all the ideas. I'm just seeing a question there in the chat about do we have to be a member of WORAN/WORAN? How do we apply?
Yeah.
Just in relation, I'll answer for Wisdom and then maybe ask the other two to answer for their groups. So for Wisdom, anybody who is a member of a Euro National OWAR Society can become an ordinary member of Wisdom. So we just have a little form where you can give us your detail, give us your email, and all you have to do is agree to support our objectives. So there's no payment or other conditions, just members of Euro National OWAR Societies can become members of Wisdom. So Catherine, in terms of becoming members of WORAN?
Yeah, so WORAN, so you don't even need to be a member of the OR Society actually to be part of WORAN. It is just a case of signing up. But we do encourage it for the wider benefits as being part of the OR Society and getting access to meet us face to face when we meet at the conference and stuff. So it is, just literally that. And all our events, as I said, we usually record them and put them on YouTube so anyone can watch them back. So it would definitely be open to anyone on this call who's part of Wisdom or Worms. Feel free to join any of our events. The links will be via the OR Society website or watch them back on our YouTube channel.
Brilliant, thank you. And Angelica, to become a member of Worms?
Yes, I think Gabby was, she sent it in the chat. She sent information like how to follow us, how to probably go and join. And yes, everybody can join. So you even, as far as I know, you don't have to be a member of Informs to be member of Worms. I mean, women. Usually, if you plan to come to US, it's probably not a bad idea. So for students, there is definitely a discount, I know, for Informs. But I guess we also can provide our contacts, and LinkedIn might be a good, source. I also wanted to say that, book clubs. I know that somebody did it. We also done it, forgot to mention, but that might be another idea how to, connect as well. So.
Actually, I like the idea of a book club or something, invisible women.
I want to know what you read,
Yeah.
I want to know what you read in Europe, for sure.
Actually, just before we go on with that, I'd forgotten, and apologies, our colleagues from Alio. So Yasmin, are you there still? My screen is too full.
Yes,
and I wonder if you want to say hello. Oh, there you are.
Yes, nice to meet you all.
it's very inspiring. We are from the ALIO, so OR in Latin America with Spain and Portugal. So we are 3 women in the board, and we really want to support women to visibilize, I don't know, to make the women more visible in Latin America. So we have a lot to do, and this is why I was telling that we will ask for advice, follow you, invite you, so we can do something or more here in Latin America.
Yes, invite us to Mexico next year.
Yes, there will be the CLAYO conference. So it's the Latin America, the ALIO conference, all Latin America and Spain and Portugal. And of course, we are all invited. And it will be in Guadalajara, and it's a very nice place. I will send you the link. And it's also the tequila region. So it will be very, there will be a lot of party. A very good place to build a women network.
Jasmine, do you have some links for the conferences and the network?
Yes. I will put them in the chat. Yes. Thank
Okay.
you. And nice to meet you.
I'm also from Mexico, so I'm happy to talk more to you on how we can bridge some collaboration.
Right. Yeah.
Wonderful. Making all the connections.
Let's keep.
I've just popped in the chat there the link to the Wisdom form, if anybody wants to become an ordinary member of Wisdom. So that's in there as well. Okay. Brilliant. So I'm going to see, can I share our screen again? So people have been popping things on that Jamboard, and I'll see, can I share the screen, even if you can't all get into it. So there we go. This is what we're seeing. Oh, a Women OR conference. So Euro 2024 is coming up, and we are planning a satellite event for the Wisdom group at that. So whether we do something slightly bigger, but definitely we'll be at Euro 2024 for any of you that might be coming there as well. We'll see how we might make connections there. We might also, when we invited people to register for this winter event, we did ask people to click if they wanted to receive the newsletters from the different groups. So if people have said yes, we can certainly send them a link to the Jamboard afterwards. So even if it mightn't have worked with all of us at the same time, it should allow us to, afterwards, when you've had some time to think, maybe add some ideas there. So I love that idea of the book club. I actually love all the ideas. So a joint brainstorming event. They all sound really, really good. Okay, wonderful. Okay, I will stop sharing because we're just coming up really to our time. We have some other members of the Wisdom committee here. So I know I went through everything very fast. Any of the other Wisdom members that are here, was there anything that I missed? So I think I gave a quick overview of a lot of stuff. But if any of you can remember anything else that we need to mention.
Can I ask one question maybe?
Mm-hmm. Yes, go ahead.
So yeah, also from my side, very, very great to meet you all. And one question would be how to get a mentor and how to get maybe the right mentor. Is it somehow possible? Whom to contact or whom to ask?
That's a very broad question. So are you one of our new awardees for this year?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. As I said, within Wisdom, we decided not to proceed with the formal mentoring system because we don't have the resources. But as a general comment, I think within the organizations that you're in, so PhD students are still under the supervision of their supervisor, but an interesting opportunity is often to, at the different conferences, have a chat with various different people. Sometimes people are available as an informal mentor rather than a formal mentoring scheme because they don't quite have the time resources to commit. So meeting people at conferences is an interesting way to get to know the community. But I think I would point everybody back to their own home institution and ask what formal systems are in place as a starting point. And if that's not working, then a conversation over coffee with somebody at a conference can lead to interesting opportunities. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of other things in the chat. Sharing about topics and things. So a lot of work, I see Dolores is there as well. I know Dolores had some funding for her research, or not research, the webinars that she has been running, and they are all recorded and available. And in one way, we've leveraged a lot of the collaboration tools during COVID because we figured out how to work them and how to use them. So some of those resources are great, and we can point people to use some resources like that. And somebody's just asking there about job portals specifically for OR. I'm not aware of a job portal specifically for OR, but I do know within our LinkedIn group, sometimes people ask, can they post about mainly academic opportunities? Lorena, had you something you wanted to add?
Yeah, sorry. I am traveling back from Winter Simulation Conference and I have internet problems, but I am happy that Alio is here. I am from Colombia and also happy that Mexico is here.
Hello.
And yes, I just would like to, before I lost the connection again, say thank you for the opportunity. And one maybe goal for 24 should be kind of integrate those Latin teams, because for us, it's quite difficult to do research, and for women, it's more kind of really a challenging path. And there are a lot of activities and small groups in Colombia, Mexico. I already know because they already contact me and we try to do stuff, but there is few hands, and that will be nice if the Europa team and WORAN can open us the doors and we can collaborate each other. And the other point is that it's true that with conferences, a good point to interact with people, but also in the winter sim, I figured out that apparently the funding is quite difficult. And I don't know if there is a way for PhD to get kind of a guide on how to find support, or if there is a way that through this society, they can get funding, then the meeting can be really happened, because what is happening so far is apparently there is no funding, and that is a lot of things that I heard in the winter sim, that is expensive trip and not all of them can travel, and then just send one person in the institute and just add the other person in the paper, just that the paper is presented. But yeah, it was really pity. And yeah, basically, sorry.
That's great to hear that you're seeing possibilities for connections there. And I see people are putting some other things in the chat there that could be interesting. But there's a lot of, even the bits that you're saying there about getting research funding, there are possibly things that we can hold a webinar between the different groups about, identifying research funding opportunities and maybe some tips on how to prepare a research funding proposal. These are the kind of things that we within the different Women in OR groups might be able to facilitate. So we'll gather up all of those ideas and see how we can progress them. And I think it is important to gather the ideas, but then also to filter them down to the ones that we can actively do something about, because there's a lot of stuff across the entire world and we don't have control over all those things. But we do need to kind of identify where we can make an impact. And borrowing Ruth's one of her favorite phrases, making impact. So from a different perspective, I think collaborating together, we do have opportunities for all of that. Okay, we are up at our 4 o'clock. I'm just going to invite if there's anybody else that wants to add any last comments, or I think we're all okay from what I can see on the screen. So I've just spotted Nuncia has just arrived with little Sylvia, if you want to, who's I think 3 months old yesterday or tomorrow or today or something like that, in and around. So congratulations. So well done to everybody. Thank you especially to the subgroup who coordinated today's event. So as I said, it doesn't happen unless people do the work in the background and make these things happen. So Heleche, I see there on my screen. Ruth, I see. Francis is there as well. And Gabriella was there as well. Everybody, thank you all for your work. Heleche is reminding us to take some photos. So if you can turn on your camera, if you can, we'll take some screenshots. And then while we're doing that, I want to wish you all a peaceful and restful season. Hopefully you all get a little bit of a break, and then I'm looking forward to collaborating